My marker lights, the middle trio on top. Clearance lights, the outer two on top. High and low beam headlights, left and right turn signals, and four-way flashers, securely mounted, not cracked or broken. They are the proper color and working. There are no leaking fluids on the ground. Open the hood. Right side of cab. All lines and hoses on the passenger side, including the radiator hoses, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking. The exhaust system runs from the manifold of the engine, under the cab, and up through the stack. Securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking exhaust. A leak would be evident if soot residue was present. The frame and cross members from the rear of the vehicle all the way to the front, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. There are no legal welds and no missing bolts. My belt-driven alternator is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken. There's no cut or bare wires, and the connections are secure. All my belts, including the fan and the serpentine belts, they're not cracked or frayed. There's no more than a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of free play. Walk around to the other side of the cab. All lines and hoses, including the firewall lines and hoses, are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking. All fluids, the oil, the power steering fluid, and coolant are full. My belt-driven water pump and its lines and hoses, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking coolant. The gear-driven air compressor and its lines and hoses, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking air. The steering gearbox and the gear-driven power steering pump with its high and low pressure hoses, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking. The pitman arm, the drag link, the steering knuckle, tie rod, and tie rod ends are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. There's no missing castle nuts or cotter pins. The suspension, the front and rear spring mounts, the bushings, the leaf springs, the center U-bolts, and shock absorber, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. The springs are not shifted. The shock absorber is not leaking hydraulic fluid. The bushings are in place. Front brakes, the brake chamber with C-clamp, lines and hoses, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking air. The slack adjuster and push rod, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. No missing pins. No more than 1 inch of play with the brakes released. Drums and shoes, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. The shoes are not dangerously worn. The tires are inflated to manufacturer specs. No cuts or bulges. No less than 4 30/2 of inch of depth tread. The rims are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. There are no illegal welds. The lug nuts are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, all present, tight. There are no shiny threads or rust trails to indicate a loose lug nut. The inner and outer hub seals are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking oil or grease. I got my side marker, my turn signal, my four-way flashers. I would check this like I did the lights in front. The door hinges, the mirror brackets and mirrors are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. The mirrors are clean. The door latch works properly. I got my tank and my def tank securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking fuel or def. Both caps are secure. The def tank has a blue cap. Back of the cab. My airlines, the blue is service, the red is emergency. They are securely mounted at both ends. They're not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking air. Catwalk, the catwalk steps and fuel steps, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, and they're free of debris. The drive shaft is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. The U-joints are secure. The electrical line, securely mounted at both ends with a safety latch and no cut or bare wires. Glad hands are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking air. they're locked in place, the seals are intact. The header board is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, there's no holes or damage. The illumination clearance lights, I would check these like I did the lights in the front. Splash guards and the tractor and trailer mud flaps are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, not torn. Coupling system. The apron and skid plate are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. There's no gap between them, and they're properly greased. The platform is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. There's no missing bolts. The kingpin and locking jaws, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. And the locking jaws are locked securely around the shank. The release handle is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. It's locked in place with a safety latch. Airline and locking pins, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. Airline's not leaking air. The locking pins are locked in place. Drive axle. The suspension, front and rear control mounts, bushing, control arm, center U-bolts, shock absorber, and airbag. Securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken. The shock absorber is not leaking hydraulic fluid. The airbag is not leaking air. The bushings are in place. Brakes. The brake chamber with C-clamp, lines and hoses, slack adjuster and push rod, and drums and shoes. I would check these like I did on the front axle. The wheels. The tire, the rim, the lug nuts, the inner and outer axle seals. I would check these like I did the front axle, except the tread depth on the tires is no less than 2/32 of an inch. The spacing between the tires is free debris, and the tires are not rubbing. All lights and reflectors, left, right, turn signals, four-way flashers, brake lights, reverse light and tail lights. I would check these like I did the lights in the front. My reflective tape on the mud flaps, they're clean, not torn, and visible. The frame and cross members, top and bottom, front to back, side to side, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, and there are no holes in the trailer floor. My landing gear is securely mounted, it's not cracked, bent, or broken, it's fully raised, handle is secure, proper clearance between the drive and landing gear. The side marker, light turn signal, four-way flashers, my ABS light, and rear marker light. I would check these like I did the lights in the front. DOT tape along the side of the trailer, I would check this like I did the tape on the mud flaps. Tandem release handle and locking pins, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, they're locked in place. The locking pins are through the holes. Trailer axle, the suspension, the front and rear spring mounts, the bushings, the leaf springs, center U-bolts, and torsion bar, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, they're not shifted, and the bushings are in place. The brakes, brake chamber with C-clamps, lines and hoses, slack adjuster and push rod, drums and shoes. I would check these like I did the drive axle. The wheels, the spacing, the tires, the rim, the lug nuts, and inner and outer hub seal. I would check these like I did the drive axle. Walk to the rear of the trailer. The door, its hinges and latches are securely mounted. They're not cracked, bent, or broken. The latch is secured. All lights and reflectors on the rear of the vehicle, left and right turn signals, four-way flashers, brake lights, marker lights, clearance lights, license plate light, and tail lights. I would check these like I did the lights in front. My reflective tape, I would check this like I did the tape on the mud flaps. DOT bumper, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken. The mud flaps are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken. They're not torn. The right side of the vehicle, I would check this exactly like I did the left side. The examiner will now instruct you to get inside the cab of the truck and operate all the lights while he or she checks that they are working on both the front and rear of the vehicle. In-cab inspection. Safe start the engine. Ensure that the transmission is in neutral. Ensure that both brakes are set. Turn the key to the on position. Make sure that the ABS light comes on and goes off and stays off. Depress the clutch and start the truck. Seat belt, securely mounted. It's not ripped or torn. The latches and it unlatches properly. My safety equipment. I have a securely mounted, fully charged, minimum of 10-pound BC fire extinguisher, 3 red reflective triangles, spare fuses and breakers. Mirrors are clean, properly adjusted. City horn, air horn are working properly. The windshield is securely mounted. It's not cracked or bent or broken. It's clean, and there are no illegal stickers to obstruct vision. Windshield wiper arms and blades, securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken. The wiper sprayer is working. Indicator lights, left and right turn signals, 4-way flashers, high and low beams are all working. Gauges, oil pressure, water temperature, voltometer, air gauges, and DEF are all working properly and reading normal. Air gauges should stop rising between 120 and 140 psi. The DEF gauge is at least 1/8 of a tank. Defroster and heater both are working. Turn the switch on the floor setting and feel near the floor. Then turn on the defrost setting and feel the air above the dashboard. Parking brake check. Tug test. First, I will check the tractor parking brake by putting the transmission in first gear. I will release the trailer valve and tugging gently against the parking brake. Now I will set the trailer brake, release the tractor brake, and give another gentle tug. I will now place the transmission in neutral and set the parking brakes. I'll now do a service brake check. I'm going to ask the examiner if I should perform the check now. I will place the transmission in low gear, release the brakes, pull forward about 5 miles per hour, and firmly press the clutch and brake pedal, making sure the steering wheel does not pull to either side and that I feel nothing unusual. I will now do a 3-point air brake test. I will fan the pressure down to it or below 90 psi. Begin fanning the brake pedal until the air pressure is just below 90 psi. I will let the air pressure build to between 120 and 140 psi, listening for the air compressor governor to cut out. Continue hitting the gas until a burst of air stops and it stabilizes. Now, I will put the transmission in first gear. I will turn the engine off and return the key to the on position so my gauges work. I will release my brakes. I will hold firm pressure on the brake pedal. I will make sure I lose no more than 4 psi in 1 minute for a combination vehicle equipped with air brakes. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000. I will now fan the pressure down to ensure that my low air pressure warning light and buzzer activate before the pressure drops below 55 psi. Begin fanning the brake until low air warning light and or buzzers activate. Point it out and stop pumping. Emergency brake activation check. I will continue to fan the pressure down to between 20 and 45 psi, looking and listening for my parking brake valves to pop out. Pump brake until valves pop out. Do not touch them at any point. This concludes my 3-point air brake check.